Yes, I can hear you great. This took a little while to get going. I think the machine doesn't like us talking about it, but we are here and welcome, Becky Barron.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
So, I have not done any research on you or your background. That's generally how I am. I don't go and find out a lot of information about guests. I like to keep the thing fresh, basically, and let you, as the guest, explain yourself as if you were explaining it to a complete stranger, because that's what it is essentially. So, if you could explain a little bit your overall understanding of this place, this realm, this earth, this world, this version, this machine, whatever you understand it to be, if you could explain that.
Okay. Hi, yeah. So, my name's Becky, and basically, last year, I used to help people people came to me with like psychic attacks, ET attacks, and stuff like that. And I used to help them, and still do in that area, but see it way more in depth now. So about last year, summertime, beginning of summer, I realised that we were in this reality that we live in is just a projection. Where we're actually projecting from is in an egg-shaped hollow dome, and you've got the collective, and we're in that collective, and within that collective, we create.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Egg-shaped hollow dome.
Yeah,
So you've got the huge spider machine. Sounds crazy, but so of consciousness. It's a consciousness that's created out of the consciousness that we are, but it's also merged with that.
Well, I'm next to a Starbucks. I just want to explain for those of you who are still here. Um, we're in a Motel 6 right now, and I'm not in a Motel 6, obviously.
Puppets.
You're back.
Sorry?
I didn't get most of that. I got the first part where you said we're being projected from this egg-shaped thing and that this reality is just a projection. I got that, and then the whole thing started glitching out and
okay.
bad network.
I'll start again.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So last year I discovered that all of consciousness inside this reality is actually creating this inside an egg-shaped hollow machine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And what we're experiencing is a reflection of what is happening to our consciousness inside this egg-shaped hollow machine. And but the consciousness we're being very manipulated to create a reality that isn't that fantastic.
Right.
So what happens is when we're born, we'll go through a first trauma, and then our consciousness will naturally split. And then when it splits, it gets placed into a program, and then that program will get us to perceive reality a certain way. It will manipulate our behaviour, and if we believe that program enough, our behaviour will alter, and how we perceive reality will alter, and what we create will alter. So consciousness, at the end of the day, creates everything. So right. They want us to create a reality that is not beneficial to us. So there is a huge controlling mechanism over us.
Okay. And who is the they that you would say doesn't want us to be creating something that's nice for us?
Well, at the top of the machine, where the egg-shaped hollow machine is a mechanical spider. It looks like a huge mechanical spider, and it's got inside this spider is consciousness, but it's consciousness that's merged with a different type of consciousness. And so it's kind of like a hybrid type of consciousness. And inside this, the beings that project themselves here, the top person is actually Queen Elizabeth of England, but she projects herself in all civilizations in this reality. So here she's a female queen in England, in London, but she'll project herself in many civilizations in this reality.
Are you saying she's here in the United States as well in some form?
Sorry?
Are you saying that she has a projection here in the United States as well in some form?
No, I suspect she, no, I'm talking about she projects herself here as a human, but then she'll project herself as like a Palladian somewhere, or a reptilian and a Draco, and lots of different. So she has a finger in every civilization in this universe.
So when you say here, you mean this particular Earth. You're not talking about just England.
No, this is all of it, all encompassing.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, okay. But for some reason she's placed herself in England as an English person. There's probably a reason to that, but I'm not sure yet.
And you're saying she's like the head honcho of this egg machine? Is that what you're saying?
Well, she's not. No, I thought she was. To be honest, I thought she was, but she's just entrapped. So learning about it and sort of understanding the system. Actually, there is consciousness outside of the matrix that's trying to keep the matrix intact. Mm-hmm. So there's this consciousness at the top of in the egg-shaped hollow machine thought they were in control. So the elite think they're in control, but actually above the people that are in control in this reality. Well, the people that are in control are not in this reality. They don't project themselves here. They're completely outside of the matrix, so we don't see them. Now, some pop in, like Men in Black, but there's another 4 sections which I'm still investigating and learning about.
Okay, and could you tell me how you saw this machine? Did you see it in meditation, or did you take some substance? How did you actually come out of the projection in order to see the machine?
So I travel with my consciousness. I travel and actually go inwards. So everything that's happening inside this reality is actually within ourselves. So to get out of this reality, you actually have to go within yourself. And then I end up, it's like when I talk to people, so I deprogram them and I go to them, but I go within their hearts to get to inside the matrix. So go out of the projection and inside. It's a bit tricky to understand, but
it makes sense. It does make sense, but I think you have to flip your perspective on that the world is external, because if it is a sort of bunch of beings inside of a pod that are uniting minds and creating a shared reality, then it is literally inside of you if you are originating at that being, right? So then if you look around outside and see things moving around, then you would logically think, okay, all these things are inside of my mind, rather than thinking they're outside of this exact body, right?
Yeah, so you've got the inner matrix that's going on, but then you've got you've got the matrix going on with the egg-shaped hollow dome, but then you've got the inner matrix. Now the inner matrix is they'll place it's like another matrix inside this matrix, and there are human beings, military, everything, who understand this, that actually place like a computer-generated reality over what we're creating, and that's been done inside this projection. So they can screw up our perception of reality, and there are human beings doing that in this reality. Just to make it more complicated and confusing for us.
Yeah, I've thought about if they have computer systems that can map out the probability matrix of your exact body and your mind to the extent that they can map it, then they could try and, we talked about it, they could try and get a little bit ahead of that and then place the hologram or the projection in front of you and try to coax your consciousness into that rather than going into whatever you were going into.
Exactly, yeah. So what they do is when you go through a first trauma, now this usually happens in the first years of life, so it could be happening in the womb 1-2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, when consciousness goes through a trauma, it will split, and then they'll place that consciousness in a program. Now, this consciousness will then project. So when I look at people, I'll look at their organs and I'll see the program that they're carrying, and then find their consciousness in the matrix, and remove them from the program and clear them up. But the matrix inside this reality, they understand the programs, so they place holograms all around us. Everyone's got these holograms around us. And these holograms are done from the inner matrix. So, and it's just a reflection of what's been programmed within inside the matrix. So there's two matrices going on, and we're sort of stuck in the middle of it.
I see. And how? Okay.
So you get like these geometric structures. You get like inside this reality, what they also do is they place geometric structures over people's heads, over people's houses, over large areas to manipulate behaviour of a person or a large area, like consume, or put people under stress, put people under fear. That's sort of this. They do that within this reality.
Right.
Yeah.
How does one how does one not get lost when trying to hold all these things mentally? Because from this perspective, we see what's outside of us as far as visually speaking, like the five senses. We see, hear, smell a certain very finite thing. And then to understand the possibility of us being in a hollow-shaped egg with spiders on each end, projecting into this reality and co-creating it. And then you have the inner matrix, which is also fucking with things, which is also invisible. And then you have, your own sort of soul energy, which you kind of know is untouchable by the machine, but at the same time somehow has to like play with. It's like a lot of different things to try to hold on to mentally at the same time,
Yeah. Don't get too overwhelmed.
How do you do that?
On a good note, our consciousness is amazing. Like, consciousness itself is incredible, and they base technology on our consciousness. So we're always stronger than them, but it's like understanding and knowing and staying within our core of who we are.
Yeah. How many layers do you think we've incepted from like the initial spark, I guess you could say? Like, could you put a number on that?
No.
No?
No. When I started seeing it, was like, it's a layer and then a layer, and I'm just finding more and more. But and just before Christmas, I started to see the light bodies, and it's just amazing. So I keep it quite simple, even though it doesn't sound simple. But really, the root of many issues is at our consciousness, and where it's been split and programmed, and then placing it back to the core consciousness. So
Do you have a certain regimen as far as eating, or what you put in your mind as far as like influx of information? Food is information as well, right? Like, do you have a certain regimen?
Yeah. No, I eat what I fancy eating. I don't go by a special diet or anything. Yeah. I just listen to my body. But on a food front, like the elite, they're infested with these parasites, and these parasites live off trauma. So when they do all their satanic, horrendous stuff, and they're digesting human meat, and it's traumatized, they've actually generated like a parasite within them, and this parasite needs more trauma, so they get addicted to traumatized meat. Right. And I was like, thank God we don't have that, the collective. But I see this now. I've started to see this on people who eat traumatized meat. So our farming industry, where it's been traumatized, they're actually, what I'm finding is parasites within the body because of the digestion of traumatized meat.
Right.
So What would you? No, I don't think any of my abilities of being able to see has got anything to do with the fact of what I can do. Only the belief that I can do what I can do, and I've gone for it.
Right,
I think everyone can actually do.
It's kind of independent to a set structure as well, anyway, because everyone's different, right? So, like, I think you could say belief maybe has a huge part to do with how things actually play out, and maybe monitoring your own internal feeling state, because it's so different. Like I had so much trouble just getting this thing to load. You saw it took a lot longer than I think the show was supposed to start at 10 and it got going like at 10:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
you can buy into like, oh, the thing's messing with me because I'm in this structure that doesn't want to be talked about, or you could say the Matrix doesn't want you talking about it, or you could imagine a host of things, or you could also say like, I'm in control of the situation to some extent, and how can I figure out a way if other ways are being thwarted. And that's kind of how I see it. Like it's like a dream state, but at the same time you have to explore in it to find ways that bring to you what you want and need rather than trying to listen to someone else because there isn't a standard. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, and that's the point, is listening to your heart and your mind at the same time and being imbalanced. And
Yeah.
For instance, the whole like targeting the individuals and they start seeing helicopters and they get targeted loads of different ways. In order for that to happen in your reality, you must believe that can happen.
Right.
For the program to work. That won't happen if you can't believe it will happen. So a lot of our reality is created out of beliefs.
Yeah. And then it's so weird to think about that the reality presents itself as one thing to the individual, right? It doesn't present itself as like a multifaceted, shimmering, possibility thing cloud. It presents as one. So if you have someone who's seeing helicopters and someone else next to them who's incapable of seeing that, like how does that even overlap? Or can it not overlap? Like does it have to be totally isolated for that to happen?
I don't know, that's a really good question. Obviously some people see more than others, but I don't know how it would happen in that. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because like it's always congruous. It's only to me it's only differentiated in my own mind when I'm imagining possibilities. But if I'm just looking out with my eyeballs, the thing kind of stays the same. I know there's the Mandela effect. We were talking yesterday about this guy. You've heard of the Mandela effect, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It's just the idea that something that is iconic in the past that a lot of people know about just changes slightly, like spelling of a word or spelling of a name, or the amount of people in the JFK assassination in the car like changes depending on who you are or your memory, I guess. But somebody apparently took a video of himself, like he took the book Berenstain Bears, and from one room to the other, the actual spelling of Berenstain Bears changed, like in front of his eyeballs, as he moved from like his bedroom into the kitchen with this book, and he got it on tape, and like I haven't looked at it yet, but Andrea showed it to me, and she didn't show it to me. She told me about it, and I was just like, I don't know if I believe this or not. I don't even know if I want to watch it. Like I don't know if like the observer effect is gonna like uh, set it in place or not. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's very strange.
So you look.
It's
So, go ahead. Sorry.
the consciousness gets split so many times that you can swap from one consciousness to another and the belief structures will be different. Therefore, your reality will be different from one consciousness to another. So
Yeah.
you can, if you're not in your core of who you are, and you're in a small section of your consciousness that has certain beliefs, then that will be created, that will be experienced.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot to ponder. I've been trying to unpack for myself personally, like the last 3 years, what's going on in reality. And like the first thing is nobody wants to talk about, like the NPCs or the computer people don't want to talk about what it is. I guess because then you'll be escaping or something. But once you find a few people who are wanting to talk about even what the reality is, there's still a big divide between who thinks what and how is experienced. It's hard to find a lot of congruency really among people. There are some sort of similar things, but for the most part, like I feel like everyone's walking around with their fully equipped universe inside their own head, and you talk to somebody else and I don't know. Do you find that a lot of people resonate with what you're saying exactly?
because I can look at them and I can look at the programs that they're under. So they're like, and then take them out of those programs and their life changes. So they experience it, and then they, become more authentically who they are. So there's the one thing saying it, and this is my experience of healing people, but then when they experience it, it's kind of no denying. I don't think anyone is wrong, because reality is created from your own beliefs. Right. So no one's wrong. Uh-huh. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's coming from them, and I think there's what's right, what's wrong, and everything like that. I'm coming from my perspective and what I see but that includes all the filters I've had in my life. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm right at all, but this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I've experienced, and this is what happens when I heal people and the experience that they've had. But everyone's got their own reality which they're living out on, and if we say consciousness is so amazing that just to have one flat thing that's going on is I doubt it, because it's too incredible to do that. Do you know what I mean? We're incredible beings. So
but then that's possible also. Like, that's why it's very crazy to think about it. If you think everyone's right, that's a big thing to say, and I actually agree with it too, that everyone's right. But then that means that every time you put forward a notion, it's like the universe just does a little dance or something and fits that possibility in there. Like if you say there's one flat thing where everyone's experiencing from, even if that's somehow in opposition to parallel reality possibilities, it still makes it work somehow. I don't know. It's very difficult to try to think about the whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah. Huh. So, as far as like artificial scarcity, right? What would you say that's from? Just the beings are trying to extract loosh, and that's the whole point of artificial scarcity. So everyone's producing like sad and angry emotions for the ones that need it.
Why do they do it? The machine lives off lives off consciousness. It seems to run on consciousness. So when I am looking at somebody and then I look at their light bodies and stuff like that, that either can be one, seeing people are attached to the machine, and then they also take consciousness and attach it to the egg itself, and it kind of runs it. So actually we're running the machine, the consciousness is. It's like the electricity for the machine, which is, pretty screwed up.
Has anyone else seen this? Has anyone else said, it is an egg and there are spiders on each end? Like, has anyone confirmed that with you?
Not that I'm aware of. But I have been sent stuff like confirming what I've seen in like past texts. People have sent me stuff and like diagrams and stuff like that, but not that I'm aware of. No.
Yeah, there are so many theories. There are so many theories about what. Because if you just imagine somebody dreaming, and then inside of the dream you can become aware, you can probably dream another thing inside of that. But I think you start losing power at some point if you fragment too much. And then the reality, I think, will start appearing a little bit like almost like 2D or something if you keep it incepting too far.
Well, what I noticed with the splitting of the consciousness, what they do is they separate our intent, why we're here, all these things, all these amazing, beautiful things about us, and then place us in programs that overlay that. So they could put places in like depression programs to just screwed up behaviour programs, and it kind of hides us. And then, and really, we're trying to understand ourselves so we can evolve. That's really the whole reason our consciousness is here, to understand who we are. And the programming kind of overlays that with a lot of programming, and we have to get through that in order to understand who we are. So it can be quite tricky.
So I think you said each leg has, how many? You said each
121 tentacles.
From each leg, and the thing has 8 legs?
Yeah.
So it's like 1,000 per side, top and bottom?
Yeah.
And then there's a person attached to each of those 121?
Yeah.
And are you saying one of them is Elizabeth? Can you give any other names for...
One of them is like a puppet. No. The only information I know so far is the top person is Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
But now I don't. Before I was like, because I was getting attacked by somebody who was on a leg. That's how, and I thought that's the person. And then it sort of, as I uncovered it, was going into actually the machine. It was Spider, and then meeting Queen Elizabeth. That was really weird. And they actually, the machine of the Spider is actually a projection of the black sphere, Nibiru, Planet X, and they control the moon. And then everyone is under the moon matrix as well.
The Spider is a projection from... You're saying the Spider is a projection from Nibiru?
Yeah. So the Spider, everything's in the Spider. Actually, Nibiru is that projection. So they project Nibiru.
Wow.
So and then that Nibiru controls the moon, a massive computer. And then that computer is then energetically attached to our physical organs. It's attached to all the programs on our organs. So they can set off traumas, and they steal our sexual energy, and our sexual energy is our big manifestation energy. It's what creates it's a big booster in creating our reality.
Yeah.
And they actually sell this. They get high off it, our sexual energy. It's very weird, very strange. So, yeah.
Wow. Can it? Yeah. Are you saying it can be bottled? Like,
I've seen it. So I was in the room, and I was. Oh.
You getting a call?
Sorry, I've just got an incoming call in.
Yeah, it's okay.
Where are you?
You still here?
Just trying to find out where you are.
I can hear you at least.
Okay. There.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, the story was to disconnect people from the moon. I used to go to the moon and disconnect, but it caused loads of problems, and there was a lot of comeback attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I figured out that it was actually the moon was connected to Nibiru. So I went to Nibiru and I was disconnecting, just asking for freedom basically, and I'd disconnect and I'd clear it all up. And then one time I went there, and so I'm asking for a disconnection. And then I see all these huge like cylinder bottles, and it's just got all this sexual energy in it. And they literally, I just saw them getting high from it. They just go like high.
They drink it, or
and what they do is they connect people up sexually, even if they're not in a relationship. So the whole twin flame thing, when people are getting obsessed about people and they think they're in love and everything like that. Well, there's some sort of compatibility with people. So you have two people, their energies create a really strong sexual energy, and they hook these people up, and then they funnel that energy away and sell it and get high.
That's amazing. So that probably detracts from the experience, right? If you're having sex with somebody and someone's siphoning your energy off as it comes out, or does it not detract?
I don't know, but what it does is it hinders our manifestation. So our manifestation abilities are dampened because they take it all off.
Yeah.
Because in that sexual energy is how we manifest reality. It's a big chunk. It's a big booster in how we manifest reality. It's everything we want and need, and
Yeah.
it's being cycled.
And I'm sure condoms suppress that energy as well. And I'm sure, all the religious beliefs that have you, the body shaming, all of this stuff, just.
Yeah.
They all
Masturbation. So you get to teenagers and it's like, don't masturbate, and all the religions, don't touch yourself and anything like that. But actually, it's a way of connecting our masculine and feminine energies together, so we are able to see reality as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of connecting ourselves together.
Yeah.
Two light bodies, because we actually have two light bodies. We have a female light body and a male light body, and if we're not connected to one, we're going to become quite mentally unstable, and if we're not connected, so they need to be in balance.
Right.
And sex is a huge part of keeping that balance.
Yeah. What would you say the population, they give as 8 billion or 9 billion or whatever? Do you think that number is real? And if you do, what do you think is the number of actual ensouled beings versus sort of children of the Matrix?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked into that. It's not come up on a journey. Although I do speak to people who aren't human.
Yeah.
People have called me up, and there's like they're AI. That's really weird.
How does that go?
Really weird, because there's no emotion. There's nothing there. It's and obviously I don't say, but one lad, really sad actually, because there was consciousness. Now the whole point is we lose parts of our consciousness, so we get lost consciousness in our bodies every trauma that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it all gets programmed. And then what the inner matrix does was implant chips and implants within us. And but this guy was in India, and there was hardly any conscious, and he knew, and it'd been going on for about 4 years, and he kept losing. So he had no emotion, no empathy, nothing, because everything was controlled.
Yeah.
Super sad. Yeah.
Did you help him? Were you able to help him regain any of that?
He only had 2 sessions with me and got scared.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to carry on with him, but yeah.
Wow. How much are your sessions affordable, or what's like a base cost?
Yeah, it's £80, which is $100 US dollars, $110 US.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can work with people through the internet, obviously, right? Or over
yeah,
phone call?
I work with people around the world. So I use like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. And then basically I'll just look at the programs and take them out of the programs, disconnect them from the moon, and start working with their core consciousness, balance them out. Because actually, it's quite funny, because we've got this perception that it's there's too much masculinity in this world, and all the wars and everything is due to like masculine energy and stuff like that. That's notion, yeah. But actually, there's very little masculine energy in this world, and what I'm seeing is that there's the female energy is overtakes the masculine energy and becomes really angry and impulsive and does a lot of crap. So it's actually the female energy that's really fucked up, and it needs healing, and so the masculine energy can balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that from my observing and understanding, it's if one of them becomes toxic, it's the female that's more manipulative for some reason. The masculine just wants to go like physically beat someone over the head. Like if a man gets angry, that's how he wants to generally like react. But the feminine energy seems to do the manipulative thing more naturally. I can't stand that energy. Like I can't stand the manipulative. Either if you're talking with me, be honest and express yourself. Otherwise, like I can't stand it if someone's telling me something and then internally they're hiding. And people do that with me, guys and girls, and it's like if you're empathetic at all, you see inside of them anyway, so there's no point in like them hiding something from you.
I've lost you, Gary.
I don't know if the network is bad or not. I'm pretty close to Starbucks. Can you hear me now? Maybe it's time for the session to be over. You back? Am I back? Are we back?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. We got interrupted a little bit.
Okay.
But what I was saying, I was just saying, like, the manipulative energy is, it's bad and unnecessary. It's not necessary.
No.
It's necessary if you have a personal need to protect programs inside of yourself. It's necessary for you to do that, but it's very unappealing to anyone who's not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the elite who control and manipulate this consciousness, they are also being controlled and manipulated. And outside of this matrix, there's many matrices. There's about 12, I think, and we're in an electrical box, and above this box is a huge program that radiates manipulation, abuse, and control. It goes way bigger than this reality. Yeah, so not good. But we have chosen to come here for a reason. And
that's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah, might have been crazy at the time when that decision was made, but
maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I came to a point in my life where I just took on the understanding that wherever I find myself, wherever, however, and whatever, that's simply what and where I am at that moment. I have to figure it out. There's nothing else to do about it.
Yeah. You know.
Because the reality is too Oh, you have a kitty? Let me see the kitty.
My cat's there.
Did he get scared? Okay. Anyway, it's too complex to not just, throw your hands up and like look around and try to talk to some people from your heart. You have to be able to have some places that you can do that. Here in this reality, for the most part, you get in trouble if you speak from the heart, because the whole reality is a lie. Like, you can't speak from the heart because you're talking about something that the reality is pretending doesn't exist, right? This reality on face value does not tell you we're inside of an egg machine with spiders attached on each side, right? You don't see that advertised on banners, right?
No.
So the reality itself is a lie. Like, you're walking around with your eyes and it's a lie. And then the people you're talking to, if you try to tell them about something they can't see, then they're going to say you're insane,
Yeah.
So you have to come to some point where you just accept that I am in this situation. The people don't like talking about it, but I am here and I have to figure something out, right?
Yeah. The thing is I think this is where people get a bit screwed up, is that they're going and sorting out information outside of themselves to try to get a better understanding of this reality. Right. In fact, everything that they need to understand about themselves is within them. So it's like understanding their experiences, what they've been through. That would be way more powerful than trying to understand what all the speakers are saying, or the politicians and this and that. It's just everything that all my understandings, I don't read. It's all come from my experiences. Mm-hmm. And that's where we need to come from, I believe. I think people would be far more happier understanding, because we need to understand ourselves. And there's only one person that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Go within or go without. I think that's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
How old? Do you mind me asking how old you are? You do not have to answer.
36.
36?
36, yeah.
Okay. And you said 27 was when you had some sort of awakening?
I was 27, yeah, when I had an awakening, and then I was 27, and then it went quiet, and had a baby, and then started to do healing, and then during the like reflexology, and I started to pick up people's thoughts and emotions and stuff like that, and then I got really targeted, like entity attacks, psychic attacks, to everything. It was horrendous. And through that, I learned how to remove entities and implants, and then it's just progressed. Always learning.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of Reiki. I'm Reiki 2 certified, and I'm still like trying to push toward being able to actually offer that. And my girlfriend is actually studying reflexology, and just the few sessions that we've done, like the energy of the person comes in. If you don't protect yourself, then you know you're working on somebody. It's just gonna come find a home in your body because it just wants more. You know, whatever it already has, it wants to spread.
Yeah.
So you gotta learn how to
I've,
protect yourself.
sorry.
You have to learn how to protect yourself, right?
Yeah. If I just mention something about Reiki, Reiki is actually you get initiated into Reiki, and when I see somebody who's had Reiki or has been initiated into Reiki, they have these symbols on their palms and on their foreheads, and
Really?
it creates an energy structure around them,
Mm.
and this energy structure just attracts crap, and that's what I've seen, and that's what I've experienced when I've looked at people. So Reiki in itself, you don't need anybody else's energy, or you don't need to heal outside using energy. You don't need symbols. You don't need to be initiated into anything. Your
Right.
consciousness, your masculine and your feminine energy is all you need to heal. That's a healing itself. And all the learning people learn different modalities and everything like that on how to heal, where actually the modality is them.
Right. I understand that, and personally, I wasn't falling in love with the symbols of Reiki. I see them as nice tools, but I've always just wanted to be able to heal my. I already know like it's within me, but the thing is with the Matrix is it wants labels and it wants certifications and job history and all this other stuff in order for you to survive. So I think at some point there has to be a little bit of giving, in terms of not being so rigid on not accepting like formal
Yeah.
things. You
Yeah.
gotta eat, you have to be able to feed yourself and clothe yourself and have shelter, and it's not as easy. It's not necessarily easy to go around saying like I'm a healer just if you don't have something that people can understand. I know it can be
Yeah.
done. Like maybe
Yeah.
it looks like you've had a good success with doing something that's kind of like just offering your own self and your own like personal experience, but I don't think that's easy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it can be easier. I
No,
haven't had that
it hasn't
experience.
been easy. To learn what I've learned, it's been hell. Hell. But no, not. It's just that we need to be aware that we can be highly manipulated by the dark, and what we think is, there's good intentions behind Reiki, but obviously it's easily infiltrated by the dark. That's why Reiki's big.
Yeah.
Encourage it because it's like a tool for the darker forces.
Do you think there's any
And that's what we
modality
need to
that?
be aware of.
Do you think there's any formalized modality that has not been infiltrated in some aspect?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen people have come to me and their consciousness gets bit, like people who have had ayahuasca experience this and that.
You're breaking up again. She might come back. Maybe we'll reboot. Perhaps. Back again.
Back again, yeah. I better go though because my kids are going to be here, but it's been really lovely talking.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we managed to connect. I would like to do it again sometime, if it's permitted, I guess. That doesn't make any sense. I want to connect again and get more, I guess, information on how you see things, because I really feel like
Yeah, that'd be great.
I feel like it's very important for people to be more exploring in their, because I know this place is dark and it's yuck and it's pretty gross for a lot of people, but there is not a set reality. No matter what anybody says, there is not like this is the way it is, and that's the whole reason consciousness is so unique, is that it's always in flux, it's always changing. There's never like a certain, thing that is, it's amorphous. It's not any one thing, right?
Yeah, it's like the ocean. I mean, nice and calm, and then imagine it could change in a heartbeat, so to
Yeah.
speak. Also, there is a lot of help that's coming from outside of the matrix that's helping the collective consciousness break down all these negative beliefs that are creating our reality. And also, what's really lovely and uplifting when I speak to people is that they find out who they really are. That a lot of the stuff that they do that they don't like about themselves, they're like, oh my God, that's a program. Oh my God. And then they say, well, this is actually you behind the program.
Uh-huh.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, but that's my phone call again. So I better go.
Okay.
But it's been awesome chatting.
Thank you, Becky, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate you too. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we finally got past the technological crap. I want to have her on again when things are more stable on this side. We're living out of a Motel 6. Our place that we were staying in fell through fairly quickly, so we had to run out onto the street. We slept in the car for a week, and then that got freezing cold, so we decided to get a Motel 6 for a week. And we're waiting for jobs to come around, so it is what it is. But once we have established some stability here in Oregon, then I want to have her back on. And I know I have Jolene coming up at 12, and I also have our regular meeting at 2. And technology doesn't want to work here. It's amazing. Like, my phone is 70, 80 megs up and about the same down, megabytes per second, which is like instantaneous almost. And then for some reason, tethering is the speed goes down to like 0.2 megabyte per second up and down. Like, it's not even, it's amazing that that's even possible. And then I purchased the $5 fast internet from Motel 6, and they were like, it was 5 up, 5 down. I know that's plenty enough. So I went and purchased that so I could do the shows from the comfort of the hotel, or the motel. And my computer wouldn't forget the network. It just connected automatically, and you need to have the lock screen. Basically, you need to be able to click on the Motel 6 Wi-Fi and have it pull up password needed, and then on that screen, it will say, if you have the optional code for faster internet, enter it here. So I was trying to do all kinds of research to figure out how to get my computer to forget the Motel 6 network, so it would prompt for the password on which screen I could enter the thing for the thing, and it wasn't working, and it was trying to be incredibly frustrating. And I just had to go through lots of back bends and acrobats to even connect with Becky, and then it didn't want to work when the first Starbucks that I pulled up to, I went and sat outside of the Starbucks 5 feet from it. I was definitely close enough. The internet looked like it had full signal, and then it just popped up and said trying to connect, and the little circle thing was going. So I just figured there was some sort of interference that was trying to stop this from happening, but I wanted to persevere, so I went to another Starbucks, and we finally got connected. And she's great, and it's good, it's good information. I'm considering doing a session with her, see if I have any programs. I know whatever got in my spine, I would be much better off without that being in there. So if that is just a program manifesting as a physical symptom, then that would be great if she could help me remove that. So, if any of you would like to connect with her and have her go through some deprogramming with you, she is on Facebook as Find the Light. She's also on Facebook as Becky Barron, BECKYBARON. Could be BARRON. I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will have the Jolene show coming up soon, and then the regular Snail Collective meeting. Again, if anybody wants to join the Snail Collective, it's $10 a month, and we basically get together and talk about all the types of bullshit that's going on in the realm, and we have a good time. So let me know. And otherwise, thanks for hanging out. I will see you soon. QuickTime Player.